How many times I heard that said to their brother or their sister or their cousin or their friend from down the street? I don't want to be your friend no more. You were mean to me. Well, as childish as that sounds, we do the same thing in our personal lives. Somebody does something against us that bothers us, that makes us angry, that hurts us, and we look at them and, I don't want to be your friend no more. And yet here we are forgiven for the things that we've done wrong, things that we could never pay back, things that we could never make right by the Creator. And we can't forgive those sins against us from other people? It's very simply put. If we cannot forgive the people who have hurt us, then God cannot forgive us, because there is no forgiveness in our hearts. There's no room for forgiveness in our lives. It isn't about doing it because we're supposed to do it. It's about the fact that we are so grateful for the forgiveness that we've received. So grateful for the gift of life that God brings, that we want to extend that gift to other people when they hurt us. I love the illustration. I use it often, and I'm sorry for those of you that get sick of hearing it. But when somebody hurts me this much, I have two choices. I can hurt them back that much. Because fair's fair, right? They hurt me in the first place. I can hurt them back. But it's got to be just a little bit more than what they hurt me. Or I can let that hurt go. Now, most of us, we really honestly could be hurt this much. We really could. And we can forgive that. But so often, we want to hurt people back this much. Well, when you hurt them back this much, then they want to come back and they want to hurt you this much. Well, then I got to hurt them back this much. And then they got to hurt me back this much. And so on and so on and so on, until the hurt becomes so big and so raw and so ugly that there's absolutely no way to fix it. At some point, somebody either has to say, I'm completely done with you. I don't want anything to do with you. I hope that a flower pot falls on your head and you just go away. Or we can say, hey, that's not right. Let's fix this. Let's make it right. I want to be forgiven by you, and I want to forgive you for the things that we've done to each other. And when we make that step, when we say, hey, let's forgive each other, let's move on, let's try and forget what has happened. And it may take 490 times to forgive them. It may take 4,090 times to forgive them until it's perfect. But if we're actively trying to forgive each other, if we're actively trying to have a solid, strong relationship with each other, then we can put those things behind us. And we can live the life that God wants us to live. We can be the people God wants us to be. And if you're not willing to, well, then you'll be put into prison and tortured until you can pay back the debt that you owe God, because you weren't willing to forgive other people for the small debts in their life against you, when God was willing to forgive you of the gigantic debt that you've owed Him. God doesn't want that. He doesn't want anybody to be thrown into hell. His Bible makes that very clear. But when we choose to ignore the gift of salvation, when we choose to ignore the commandments He gives us, when we choose to reject that, we choose to go to prison and be tortured. I, for one, don't want that. I don't like pain. I am not a person who enjoys it. You'd think I would because of how many times I get hurt. That's true. But I don't enjoy it. I don't know anybody that enjoys pain, says, here, hit me in the hand with your hammer as hard as you can, because I don't hurt right now and I want to. I don't know anybody that's like that. But I do know this. I want to be with God in heaven for all of eternity. Where there is no more pain, where there is no sorrow, where there's no worry, where there's no anything but the absolute bliss and joy of spending eternity with God. That's what I want to do. And in order to get there, I need to be willing to forgive and forget and make it perfect. Even if it takes 490 times to do it. I thank God that He has not given up on me. I thank God that He continues to work on us. And He continues to speak to our hearts. He continues to guide us and direct us. I thank God that He loved me so much that He sent His one and only Son to take my place so that I could take my place in heaven next to Him someday. I don't know what your debts are. I don't even know who you have indebted yourself to by sinning against somebody else. But go make it right. And for those that have debted against you, who have sinned against you, forgive them. Life is so much easier when you can let it go and move on and restore instead of holding on to a grudge that's never going to get you anywhere.